And we're live. We're not live. We're live for recording. See Charlie's face every time I say we're live. He's like, oh, please. Oh, please. JML here. Frank down below.
That's me.
Charlie over there.
Yo. Happy New Year, everybody.
It's been
Happy
what,
New
3
Year,
weeks?
yes.
3 weeks?
I think it's been about 4 weeks actually, because it was the week before my birthday. Because we didn't do a show that weekend. So yeah, it's been 3 weeks for my birthday. So it's been 4 weeks. So
Wow.
Hello, Happy New Year. I'm 1 year older. We're all 1 year older.
Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Joy. Happy Joy. I don't know.
Happy January. I don't know. Happy almost playoffs if you're a football fan. I don't know. What else are we doing?
So the T-Rex in the room is the hostile takeover ? That's why I have it at the bottom. Vince McMahon returning to the seat, the chairman position in WWE. I don't think he's gonna touch creative. I don't think that's his mission here.
Not. Yeah.
But I'm going to start off with a hot take.
Go ahead.
Has the creative really been that much better?
Oh boy, here we go again. Yes.
It's perception is reality, brother.
Both shows, excluding NXT because I don't watch, but Raw and SmackDown have been watchable. That's all I asked for.
Yeah, it's very subtle. I think people look too much into it. Just like I'm sure last night a lot of people were picking apart the show, saying, "Oh, Vince is back," as Michael Cole said, "WWE Universe," or whatever they're complaining about. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people still complaining about it every week. Like it's just slightly different. There's more returns, and there's people that people don't really want to see. Because you got to remember, again, the major audience at large, as I've said before in the show, they don't watch NXT. So they don't know who all these people are that he's bringing back. So, I don't know. SmackDown has been great. It's been my favorite show of the week most weeks. Yeah. Raw is always going to be a slog because it's 3 hours, but it's been more watchable, I guess, because they're attempting to have more match variety, even though it's very hard to do when you have a 3 hour show. I don't know, man. Like I said, perception is reality. There's always going to be people that are going to automatically not like it because it's not the cool show to watch. Been there before, the Monday Night Wars, Raw, that's the stupid show. And then 2 years later, like, you watch WCW? I don't know.
I'm trying to pull up.
Oh boy.
So not only did he come back as a chairman, he brought two of his cronies back with him. That ended up kicking people off of the board in the process.
Which apparently he can just do. So I'm like, yeah. Okay, it was that easy, huh?
Well, remember when I said this whole retirement thing?
Yeah,
I was like, he's still the majority shareholder.
Talking about this, he's gonna
at any time he can come back if he chooses, unless he decides to sell his shares.
Yeah. So this is all on you, James.
Well, that was, I believe, the first show I did with you guys. So ironically enough, here we are again. But yeah, you did say that. And also, I mean, we also were still contingent on the fact we thought more stuff was going to come out, more damaging stuff. If I remember that show we discussed, we had some ideas things we thought might be coming out. And they have not. Not to say they don't exist, but they have not so far. So yeah, majority share. There's nothing really he can do. He held them over the barrel. He basically said, "Hey, I'm coming back. If you don't like it, then I'm not going to allow you to renew your TV rights deal," which is a huge thing. And if you're looking at a sale, it has to come through me, which we knew already.
It makes sense because this is, if you built any company up, and you're still involved with the company, wouldn't you want to see the most for your time, blood, sweat, and tears back on your career? Like, wouldn't you want that? Mm-hmm. So I understand that wholeheartedly. From a wrestling fan point of view, everyone gets scared that he's going to touch creative. Like I said, I'm going to reiterate, he's not touching creative. it would just look bad. I mean, he's got his son-in-law running creative. He's got his daughter as president, which now is just a really weird thing. You got Nick Khan.
The co-CEOs, yeah, you're right. They're supposedly co-CEOs. He's not chairman. He's executive, whatever. He come up with a new term for it. Yeah, you're right. It would be a weird look, and considering he's openly said in these letters they released that he's not there to do that. He's there specifically to, what would they say? It was in a lot of Vince speak and a lot of terms that are big, but basically saying, "I'm here to see we can get the most money out of our TV rights deal and the possible sales." Essentially, what he said.
Yeah, like I said to you guys in chat, if he's there for sales, God bless him. If he's there to touch creative, just get the F out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's most people are going to probably say.
So, in 2016, UFC went up for sale and was purchased by Endeavor. It went for $4 billion. Okay, at the time, UFC $4 billion.
Christ.
So, knowing that that UFC got a $4 billion return, what are we thinking WWE can get? Are they going to get more than $4 billion? Or are they going to get less? It's quite the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, considering the hours of program they put on a week, I think they technically should be valued more, right? We're talking about live programming several nights a week.
I think WWE has a stronger fan base than UFC. I could be wrong, but I do.
I would agree with that. But
so here's what I'd say. Vince is very smart. He knew both of these deals were coming up very soon.
Right.
He's going to look, I mean, for any suitor to buy this, potentially a network or a streamer or to buy this company. I'm thinking, you got to remember, with licensing alone, this company turns out how much? Like look at us. Do you see people wearing Conor McGregor chalkline jackets? Let's just be honest, right? You would think that WWE would sell for more, just my opinion, than UFC. I'm not knocking UFC, but you have how many hours of television do they produce a week? They got NXT for 2, 3. They got 8 hours.
No, we got 7.
7 hours.
Raw 3, NXT. I was about to say UFC. So, NXT 2 and SmackDown 2. So.
What really handcuffs WWE right now is Peacock, the Peacock deal over here. The reason why it handcuffs them is the live events. I think eventually it's going to go to the UFC model where you're going to have to pay for live events again.
Sucks.
There's no way that they're going to keep, and I'm not saying it's going to be as expensive as a UFC fight. But it's probably going to be.
I've purchased one of those, and I only plan on purchasing one of those.
I mean, if a company's owning, like you said, they own them, they're going to want to make the most money off them, like you said. After that deal's up, it makes sense now for Peacock to do that. The network before, because it was a draw to get subscribers up.
Yes.
When you're, like you said, when you're owning it, you're trying to make money. What's going to happen? You're going to have probably similar model, a fee for
the product. And then want to pay a per event rate, or would they pay all up front like a Sunday ticket?
Yeah, I hope it's
see that
type thing.
I could see that. I mean, most stuff I do like that or have like that available for that yearly thing for a cheaper price, I always go for. Like my Disney Plus, I pay yearly because it's cheaper. Anything that's
also, I think the times just call for that now.
Because although they would be taking away the pay-per-view or live events for free, you would think the home of the streamer, right? Say it's Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, wherever, that Raw and SmackDown would be free to watch live every week, where you're taking them off of the network, which would, like, you're losing something, but you're gaining something.
Right. Like it used to be that the TV events used to be just to draw you to come to the live events or to buy the pay-per-views back in the day. So yeah.
That would be a plus. Because if Raw and SmackDown are live on a network for free, I would just get rid of cable altogether. I'm honestly keeping cable just for Raw and SmackDown.
I mean, I think they wouldn't remember to have the numbers anymore like they used to. Like, I think the eyes on the product would just gain more. Just the fact that SmackDown has more viewers. Why? Because it's on free TV. It's on network. So if you have something that's, I mean, yes, a streaming situation that everybody's going to have that, but a lot of people have access, and if it's free, I mean, they're gonna take a look at that. Just like when they tried to do that with the network before they went to Peacock, they had like the free version of the network when they were putting some stuff up, or like some countries they have a linear channel involved that's different than the actual thing. So yeah, there's a lot of things they can do. I mean, cable, they keep saying the numbers are going down every year to year. People
think
subscribe.
about it
People like me.
Amazon paid $1 billion
right
for Thursday night football, just to broadcast Thursday night football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some baseball stuff, right? I know they made a deal with the Yankees. They played
going to go for at least $5 billion. WWE's going to go for at least $5 billion.
That's a good question. Will Amazon get involved? I know there's been talk before in the past. I went when they were negotiating before the Peacock deal, when they were negotiating some ideas of what to do with the pay-per-view.
At least they already have Prime, so that wouldn't be.
I think they'd be looking for a company where they can keep the creative and the infrastructure that they have now.
Yeah,
kind of like Dana White.
It'd have
with
to
UFC, where it's like, hey, we're going to sell the company, but you're going to keep these people in place.
Yeah.
Right, you have an infrastructure where they handle it, and they handle hiring and firing when it comes to the wrestling side, because you can't. I mean, we saw what happened to WCW when too many people got involved with too many mergers after Turner sold.
It's kind of like when Disney bought Pixar,
right?
Officially, right? When Pixar became a Disney company, when Disney bought Marvel, they kept the infrastructure.
Yeah,
it's a separate entity upon the corporate umbrella of Disney.
Sure.
And again, how much did Marvel go for? Right? I'm not saying WWE's Marvel, but that sale was what, 2008, 2009? Marvel.
That would have been so much more today, obviously. Imagine how much more it would have been today. They got it on a discount in a sense.
Disney paid a total of $4 billion. So the same price that UFC went for.
Mm-hmm.
This was in 2009.
Yeah, so, Frank was right. They got a sell on that.
I mean, that was like Marvel was always big, but that was like a year into the MCU at the time before we had all these extra properties involved.
I mean, pretty much when they were like, all right, one Iron Man movie,
right?
Like they made their money. They pretty much made their money back.
Yeah.
Strategic there, yeah.
I think honestly, WWE could probably go for 5 to 7.
Yeah,
in that area.
I've read some stuff on some speculation. Sure,
it depends on how they want the sale to be handled. I was reading 3 to 6 billion. I think if you get a bidding war and you have these TV contracts that are up for sale, I think the smartest place for WWE to go is with a Amazon, with a Paramount, with a company that has a streaming service built in, where they're not going to bother because they don't know how to run a wrestling company. Yeah. They're going to let the wrestling people run the wrestling side of things.
Although I will interject, I hope if that is the case, they have a better time with their streaming, because Amazon have some issues sometimes streaming when they have baseball games on there. So I'm hoping they figure that out for this.
And YouTube, Google, they bought the Sunday Ticket rights recently, but that doesn't mean that they're out of the bidding war for this.
Well, that would be a natural fit too, right? YouTube, like everybody knows YouTube. We're on it right now. But unless you're listening to the audio podcast, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They have like a whole infrastructure set up for live event streaming. It's been like, that's what they've been moving towards, acquiring content.
I'm going down the rabbit hole when Disney also bought Skywalker when they bought the Star Wars Lucasfilm. Again, $4 billion.
So that seems to be the market point right there. $4 billion is what we're aiming for. It'll probably. I honestly, if you were to ask me, gun to the head right now, I think they'll go over $4 billion. But
let me ask you another question. I know that was brought up last night. I think it was on Meltzer was speculating on his podcast on Observer Live. Of course, we'll take it with a grain of salt. He was talking about what if they sold to the Saudis. Not because they've done this before. Remember, they just started the golf thing. They've purchased several teams. And in doing that, they also asked him the follow-up question: would that be the precursor to them taking the company private again? Meltzer goes, yeah. Now, it's a good thing to speculate. What do you think about that? Do you think of him selling to an outside source so they can take the company private, and then
they could do that? They could.
I don't know if that's likely, but I mean that was brought up.
They could do that, but the issue is then you
still have to have
you don't have the capital backing you.
Yeah.
Like you do. You have the Saudi money, but
they've got a lot of money.
I don't know if that's the best move. Because
then you would still have
to live. Because when you're I know what you're saying. Use my words very carefully. When you go down this rabbit hole, right?
Right.
It's very polarizing to make a deal with the Saudis, as we know.
As we know already with them.
The Live Tour put on a show, right, has some of the greatest golfers in the world. You have to go on YouTube to watch any of the content. It's not on a major network. It's not publicized. Nothing. Does WWE want that? Do they want their product not to be advertised the way that it was? Because it's eventually when your TV contracts go back up, right, for renewal after this round, they're not going to get the same deal because there is still a stigma and a stereotype around the Saudi influence that people don't want their product attached to it.
But do you think Vince would ditch the highest bidder for more advertising?
I think he's smart enough that he knows it's not only about him, it's also about his grandchildren, his children, the whole family, because like his father set him up, right? His father was like, here's the business. Like again, the business wasn't in great shape when Vince Jr. took it over, but he said, here's the business. And I think he wants to hand the business to them, but he knows Triple H and Stephanie, they don't have the net worth to run that company on their own. That's why they brought in Nick Khan a couple of years ago. Like the tea leaves were always here. The thing that threw this whole thing off was the retirement, sexual harassment, stuff that happened in the summer.
Yeah, true, very true. I mean, there's been all this talk. I'm sure he had an exit plan for a while, even if he didn't. He wanted to stay in power as long as he could. But you would think, everything you just said, that makes a lot of sense.
And this is very much. I don't know if you guys watch HBO, but Succession, one of the
I've heard shows on. I haven't seen it, but I've heard all about these references. So I'm kind of getting
the older gentleman on the show, played by Brian Cox. He's like the patriarch of the family. He built up essentially like a Fox network, news network, right? Without calling. And they're going like, who's going to be the new head of the board? And eventually, like all the kids think it's going to be them. And he just turns around and names himself the chairman. And it's essentially what's happening here. But he's doing it because he knows that he has the wherewithal to get the best deal, not only for himself, but for the future of his family and the company that he built. So, you sometimes you have to play the villain in this scenario, and obviously we know Vince isn't afraid to play the villain.
He sure is.
I mean, yeah. Either way, people are either gonna you got your people that still are gonna worship the guy. You got people who are gonna hate the guy, or people are gonna be indifferent. So, I think he wants to be the guy. I heard this. I forgot who I brought this up. He wants to be the guy that stands there and it takes the check. Shall we say?
Yeah.
This happens. But I think I'd like to think over the last 6 months he watched with his daughter and son-in-law when they're kind of done, and he's probably like, okay, they can do this without me.
I'd like to think that.
Much we think otherwise, but we're just we're assuming. Everybody thinks they know everything, and we really don't. Everyone's multifaceted, of course, and this man, you can't really just pin a book on him. One thing you can say is, no matter what people think, business-wise, we're not talking about popularity or whether people like the booking. That's what the internet says. We're talking about money-wise. He has a pretty good track record. So I can see why he thought I have to be involved with the sale, because I know, and he brought in the two former co-presidents who were there the last time they had the big TV rights increase in the Fox deal. So I can understand why he did that. And obviously they're also his allies, but even though he fired them, but that's business, right?
I'm going to read off.
So them being involved, those two being involved, makes me think more what you're saying. This could be a legit reason, just about the sale / the TV rights, all this stuff, which could be one and the same. Obviously, if somebody acquires them, they could just also have the broadcast rights.
So there is a CNBC article. It came out at 7 a.m. I'm going to share it real quick here. Vince McMahon is back at WWE to ensure a smooth sale process. Here's who might want to buy it. Alex Sherman. I'll link it in the description. Basically they talk about what we did. So they list Comcast, which owns NBC Universal. Obviously they already have a relationship there. Peacock and all that good stuff. And Comcast has a market cap of more than $160 billion. It can easily afford the company, especially with $9 billion or more check coming in as soon as January 2024 from Disney for a 33% stake in Hulu. It's crazy. So that they can literally just take half of that $9 billion from Disney and buy WWE.
Yeah, and then they already have this deal, but once it expires, they pretty much would own the product. They own the IP. Like I said, that's just, they wouldn't have to spend any more money on that front. They have content right there.
They list Fox. They seem less likely than Comcast to pull off a deal because their market valuation's at $17 billion. So they list that. They list Disney. They're saying that it could fit like the UFC structure, which we kind of discussed. Now, the interesting one is Warner Brothers Discovery. Why would that be interesting, gentlemen?
Because they just turned down buying AEW?
Well, they pretty much host AEW.
Host them.
Yeah.
So,
but wouldn't you rather
buy them? AEW would be looking for a new home somewhere.
Yeah.
So obviously that could have a big effect on the wrestling industry as a large here, because if instead of just paying rights to air something, what if you own the property, like they said, and everything that entails?
They list Netflix. They're saying Netflix hasn't really done any live stuff, which is true. Owning a sports league would give Netflix the ability to create video games and spin-off series without friction, which is something that they've wanted to do. Netflix found success in its Formula One Drive to Survive documentary series. I don't think that's likely. I don't think.
No.
Yeah, I agree. Especially considering the way they just they cut stuff, they cut corn. I don't see them adding on, even though it might be a way to drive up their subscribers. They're losing subs if they had such an attractive property as WWE, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Amazon, which we have talked about.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind.
Amazon could bolster Prime Video with live matches and WWE's library content while easily boosting merchandising opportunities through its e-commerce. Just something we didn't hit on at all. But how would that work with Fanatics? Right. So
Yeah. If that deal wasn't going on, if they hadn't made that deal with Fanatics, it would be more attractive. They could just put it right on Amazon proper, obviously.
Yep. Amazon spent $8.45 billion on MGM and $13.7 billion for Whole Foods. That suggests the company has the DNA to buy big.
Right.
Endeavor. So Endeavor's the company that bought UFC. Maybe having them under the same umbrella.
Yeah, that could
Liberty
make
Media,
sense.
which owns Formula One, but they also own SiriusXM and Pandora. That could work. With all these names listed, which one do you think seems most likely?
Shot in the dark, but I think Amazon.
Amazon?
Frank?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously have the money to do it. Obviously Comcast, because NBC Universal makes a lot of sense considering they've already done business with them for many years. So I can see that. I think they're going to want obviously as many people involved as possible to drive the price, but they're going to want. He's going to want to leave it somewhere where he thinks it's like pretty secure and not a company that's going to go,
I don't think Netflix is the safest.
No.
Yeah,
company.
it definitely is not. It's been teetering. Because
Netflix is going the way of Blockbuster.
Yeah, I funnily enough, right? Because there's just so much streaming services, and they don't even have like the rights to most of the more popular stuff anymore. And it's only stuff that's popular really with them is their own content, which they keep canceling or selling off to other people. So yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, it makes sense for them, but it's not a safest choice. I don't think he wants something that's going to blow up in 10 years, and then his company is just
I mean,
gone.
a quick, off the beaten path. My little blurb about Netflix. The biggest downfall of Netflix was binge watching, because if they would have went the route of Prime and some of these other companies and did, all right, we're going to drop one episode a week, they wouldn't be in the position that they're in now, because Cobra Kai comes out. What happens? Everyone watches it, and then they got to wait a year for Cobra Kai. And if I only have Netflix for Cobra Kai and a couple other shows, what am I going to do to Netflix? I'm going to cancel it until that show comes back out.
Yeah.
But if you did 10 episodes and you lock someone in for 2.5 months to a account, you have them locked in for 3 months.
Yeah.
They haven't learned how to let go of their old binge habit.
Yeah, and I would prefer it that way, because then you don't sit there and watch too much in a row, and it just all blends together. You're not really thinking about what you just watched. Unlike with Disney Plus with the Marvel series every week, you have time to talk about that episode and digest it. But again, like you said, locks you in. Yeah, they seem to just not know. They've lost all their thoughts of how to keep their.
They definitely lost their. Like, they got too cocky. They became Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
They became Blockbuster. And you have Paramount Plus, which is picking up steam.
They're the underdog in all of this.
They have the highest rated show on right now, Tulsa King.
Really?
Tulsa King. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they also have, through the umbrella, they have Yellowstone and all their spinoffs.
Yeah.
So they're building something really awesome over at Paramount.
WWE would launch them. That's
what I'm saying. So this guy listed a bunch of
other stuff.
Didn't list Paramount.
Didn't list Paramount Plus. No.
Yeah, and they're pretty high. Like, so not just their shows. They're putting their movies on after so many months. They put the Top Gun on there, and that's drawing numbers for them. Yeah, they have the South Park special. It makes a lot of sense, right? If you really want to make a splash, matter what people say, people think, or maybe wrestling fans, they don't watch all these shows anymore. But guess what? It's a big draw.
Yeah,
we know it worldwide, but even just here in the States, money-making machine.
Would Paramount Plus have the money?
That's what I'm looking at right now.
That's the question.
Paramount Global. Remember, it used to be Viacom, and they split everything up. They're at 12.48 billion, so they may not have the funds unless they take a loan, which they could. They could.
Yeah, but they're not going to bust their bank on WWE. I don't think.
No,
I think that'd be a far cry for them. But
that's why I think Fox is probably out with the 17 billion. Like,
yeah,
they didn't list you. They didn't list Google. They didn't list Google at all.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, they didn't list Google. They brushed off Apple, like a little quick note there too. So, not that I think that's much of anything, but it's interesting. They don't even they don't mention Google at all.
I don't think Apple Plus would be a good home for it. I
don't either. But
it's the worst app going.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I know that for is having to watch some games on there, and it wasn't fun.
It's got Ted Lasso. That's about it.
It's got Ted Lasso.
See, which is why I don't know all these shows. I just don't have the channel. I only downloaded because I had to watch some Yankee games on there last season with some of the worst commentary I've ever seen. They had some good cameras work, though. I'll give them that.
Yeah. Like I said, it remains to be seen.
Yeah, it's a lot of
obviously, I don't think they're going to sell until after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to tout the figures for
Mania. At its highest then, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and funnily enough, of course, we thought we were about to have our first Rumble WrestleMania season without Vince. And here he is. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. I mean, right. So you're going to want to
come out and point to the Mania sign.
And that's it, just walks off.
Walk off. Not say anything. His music hits.
Damn it.
Oh, Lord.
With that being said, I would be excited about this year's Mania. Because they're going to
go all out.
Sure. They're like The Rock, your movie careers. Remember, I said this. When did I say this?
Oh, yeah, you did.
A month and a half ago or so.
Yeah.
All it will take is The Rock to have another bomb at the box office for him to come back to WWE. And not only did Black Adam bomb out, but Young Rock's ratings have been in the toilet.
Plummeting?
Well, they did move it to Friday night. Didn't help, but yeah. Even though I like the show, yeah, they've done.
I tried with Black Adam. It was on HBO. It was on HBO on demand, and I ordered it. I'm like, what the hell? It's free. I won't waste any money watching it. 20 minutes in, I'm just like, no,
really,
I can't get into it.
I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. But again, I'm pretty easy to please sometimes.
I'm a Pierce
Brosnan. A lot of people are tired of Rock in general in his movies. He's playing a lot of the same roles, but I mean, you know what it is? He's like locked into those roles. It's like when Stallone or Schwarzenegger became the action guy. They weren't going to do something else.
That's the second DC movie that I've stopped.
Yeah,
I walked out of Aquaman in theaters.
Really?
Oh, I love Aquaman.
I walked out.
I love it.
It's all subjective. I liked it. Okay.
You know what it is? I think we know what it is. You do not like Samoans.
I love Samoans.
You're not feeling Usi.
Not feeling Usi today.
I'm feeling some Usi.
I have to call the tribal chief tonight. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like you said, enough. Like between the movie not doing well, between all the stuff that's come out,
he has to.
He's in a feud with DC right now.
He has to re-engage his core fan base.
They're like putting a smear campaign on him now. So yeah, he's going to have to. You're right. Re-engage the core fan base, the people that go to see him.
I mean, he doesn't. Hobbs and Shaw's not getting a sequel, apparently. Like, what projects does he? He doesn't have much lined up either for the first time in a while.
This is definitely a good time.
Would you be upset if he won the Rumble?
No, I mean, I don't think I'd be upset.
Do I want it to happen? Absolutely not. But I wouldn't be upset.
Why? Let me ask you a question. Why? Why don't you want it to happen?
Because I want a new face winning the Rumble. I want.
Here we go. Every year, a new face. This is what we hear every year. No, I'm not making any try. It's true though. It's always we need somebody new. No, not him.
Look, we had Drew McIntyre win the Rumble.
I want Logan Paul winning the Rumble. I won't mind it because I like the idea of Roman versus Rock, but I wish it would happen some way through Elimination Chamber instead of Rock winning Rumble.
Listen, we had Drew McIntyre win the Rumble. Okay. And granted, the pandemic happened, but it didn't do him any favors.
No.
It kind of had to do it at the time because it was tough. They kind of had to do it because they had to. It was the only way they can really catapult him. But the problem is they didn't spend a lot of time beforehand building him up. Like he just turned face and lead up to the Rumble that year, so it was like kind of. And then the pandemic happened, didn't help. But yeah.
Oh my God. How much did you chuckle at the tag team name of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre?
What did they call them? I forgot.
The Banger Bros.
The Banger Bros. Oh shit!
Well, Michael Cole said it. I don't know if they said they had their segment in the bar where they were slapping each other.
That's not PG.
Michael Cole's just having a great time saying what he wants on commentary to us.
Can you imagine if McAfee was on commentary for that?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I suppose he's coming back pretty soon, so I'll be excited to see him. Will we see him in the Rumble?
Oh.
Some good spots.
So I don't think Logan is going to win the Rumble. There's been a lot of controversy outside of the ring with Logan Paul recently that I think is going to it's not going to affect his WWE thing, but I don't think he would win the Rumble based on his comments about Christianity on his podcast. So, and religion.
Shit, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, you can guys go watch. He made an apology. He cried. But I don't think he's winning the Rumble.
I do think he's going to show up pretty. He will be back soon, though. I mean, I don't know how his knee's doing. I know it was less bad than they thought originally. So, will we see? Better question. Will we see him at WrestleMania? Who's he going to face? Is he going to face
John Cena? He's going to face John Cena.
Nice.
100%. He wouldn't have said it on the show, show, if that wasn't a thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, unless you got something else lined up for Cena, what else are you going to do that's big? You're going to want something, the biggest possible match for him if he's going to come back.
You could even do a triple threat. You could put Theory, Cena, and Logan Paul in the ring.
Not necessary. I don't think you have to do the Theory match yet. I think let's keep building them as they're doing, make it more serious. That's another thing I loved yesterday. Oh, maybe Theory's going to get pushed now. You guys, you do understand.
You guys did not like him. You guys did not like him when he was being pushed.
They're saying, oh, because of it. Like, guys, that was a storyline. I hope you know. It's not real. Sorry, guys, I don't want to ruin your day. But and again, knowing who recruited this man, because I used to be there and involved when he was champion. Who was recruiting this man? Not Vince. Regal and Hunter.
Yeah. Regal's back.
Hunter. He's a Regal/Hunter guy. I know they said, well, why? Yes, because he knew, this is the kind of guy Vince would like. But again, that was the story to try to catapult him.
Now everyone's trying to jump back on the A-Town train.
Well, no, either they're doing that, Charlie, or they're saying stuff like, well, he'll get a push again. I'm like, well, he is. If you've been watching, obviously you're not, some of these people, they're making him a serious heel, giving him credible victories like this past Monday. That will do it.
So let's
anyway, but yeah, outside of that,
Knowing that WWE's
Cena and Logan Paul's happening, we're saying okay. Rock and Roman's happening. This is what we're saying.
What about Brock Lesnar? Who is he
Brock?
going against? You know he's going to have a Mania match.
Right.
I read early reports of Bray Wyatt.
How would that?
I have no idea.
How do you go from having a feud with LA Knight?
I have no idea. Especially since I think Uncle Howdy's going to cost him his match against LA Knight. So even worse, he's not going to get built up.
Let me ask a question: Is Uncle Howdy going to take his mask off and it's Vince?
No. Wait, which Vince? Vince McMahon or Vincent from?
All of them. No, Vince McMahon. But yeah, I don't think that would get a pop.
The higher power
Ring of Honor fans. Or maybe Vincent from WCW, aka Virgil. I don't know. That may be a bigger pop.
It's Bo Dallas.
I do have a.
Well, Vincent.
I do have a buddy of mine who can't stand Bray Wyatt. Right? He doesn't like Bray, so he said, "Well, Vince being back, well, maybe he'll get rid of Bray again." I'm sure I don't want to hear that. Shout out Eric. Yeah. I just upset Charlie.
Wow.
Well, speaking of people that have left WWE, Mercedes Moné.
Terrible name.
What is she now? The CEO?
Yes.
New Japan Pro Wrestling slash Stardom. I'm so confused. Like, why can't New Japan just have a women's division and not call it Stardom?
Well, they do. I mean, she is technically IWGP champion. I don't know. I know I'm the worst person to ask since I don't follow all this stuff and I get made fun of all the time because I don't watch all this.
You get made fun of for being a normal,
being like person. A casual, like an average man. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't stay up to watch the other night like some people did. I do have to work, and I wasn't going to watch the 7 hours.
The Ospreay match that they said was the greatest match ever.
Yeah, but
it's a great match, but
I'll check that out at some point.
That's why.
I'll check
6.25 stars. Come on.
Is that what they? Come on. If that's 6 stars, and then Charlie's about to re-rate the Logan Paul Roman match at about 8 stars.
I give it all the stars.
How many stars were there in Mario? I'm giving all of those stars to that match.
250 and 64 Mario stars.
But anyway, yeah, back to Mercedes Moné. I can't even say it. That sounds more like an NXT name than the actual name she had.
More like a porn star name.
Why couldn't she just
be Mercedes Banks?
Mercedes.
Or just Mercedes, yeah. I don't know. She wanted to I don't know.
Did
they really have a Monet in NXT?
The fans are so fickle that she did one little botch. Okay.
And they've turned on her already.
Let me Why is she changing her finishing move?
And why is it so complicated?
Wait, she botched her move?
She botched her new finisher, DDT finisher.
Oh, geez.
It was needlessly complicated setup for a DDT.
So the fans pulled a Shotzi on her?
No, it's just...
And just started hitting her.
They're like, oh, she's going to be in New Japan. She better not be botching moves. And then I'm like, listen, all you guys do is do acrobats in the ring. Come on now.
Yeah.
If I wanted to watch Circus Soleil, I would go watch Circus Soleil.
We're getting a lot of comments on here. I love it. Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird segment.
I watched FTR. Man. I watch FTR because they don't flip.
No flips, just fist. I don't know, man. It was a weird debut. It was like, first of all, the match before it is apparently 5 minutes long. That's what their women's title match goes, just because they had to have time to have her out. Meanwhile, I'm sure I didn't watch the main event, but it probably went 17 hours. I'm going to assume, because Kenny's could do no wrong. And I actually like Kenny. I mean, before people saying I like Kenny, but I'm going to say, can we stop?
I like Kenny.
Can we stop with the overrating?
I don't like Ospreay at all. To be honest.
I've seen him. I saw him live last year. Have a pretty good match. I haven't seen a lot of him, but when I'm not necessarily.
Is he better than Seth Rollins?
He's not better than Seth Rollins.
Okay, all right.
I know they had the discussion, and that's why
he's better than Seth Rollins.
Nobody.
Ospreay?
I'm sure he thinks so, but
oh, geez, no, thank you, no. That's going to get a lot of hate from the internet community, but
That's all right. Hey,
oh well.
I mean, we're just calling it like we see it. We're not saying we're the definitive answer to any of this stuff. We're just speculating, guys. But anyway, she had a debut. She's gonna have a match, but it's gonna be in the States against Kairi. So I'm sure the match will be good.
So, couple things.
She may
Knowing
or may
this
not
whole
appear.
debut in New Japan, there's been an angle on AEW television of
Mhm.
Soraya's tag team partner for it to
Right.
be effing Tony Storm. That's the mystery tag team partner. After all of that,
it was an odd segment. But although now I'm hearing people, oh well, that was just a setup. She's gonna, now Shido's mad. She's gonna attack her, then she'll come out. I'm like,
oh
well,
yeah,
maybe,
so we
but
can
why
get
wouldn't you just
the
announce it?
dream match of Shida and Saraya.
Right. Well, that is another. Actually, that makes me think of another thing. We don't know yet. I mean, I've heard 17 different reports. She's not going. She isn't going there. She is, but she's not. I don't know why you wouldn't pre-advertise it, considering the numbers they did this week. You would think they'd want to
I
advertise.
don't understand why she wouldn't go there just to do a cash grab at
Right.
this point.
Unless I've heard reports they want to do a long-term deal. She doesn't want a long-term deal. I can't imagine why. But
I think a 2-year contract's a lifetime deal with AEW
Yeah.
at this point.
at this point, we don't know. I know. And it's been good lately. I'll give them their credit. Dynamite the last couple of weeks, I've actually, since they've dropped the whole Ring of Honor nonsense. it's been really
Illogical booking. How does Darby Allin go from getting his ass kicked for the last 7 months to beating Samoa Joe?
good. Well, it's for the title that everybody gets. It's pretty much the 24/7 title at this point, the TNT title.
Oh,
Everyone
geez.
gets a turn on it.
They should
It
throw
was a
that
nice
one in the
moment in his
garbage
hometown.
Alundra Blaze style.
I don't know, man. It was a nice moment for the Seattle. They were a pretty hot crowd. I'll give them that. It was nice for them to get to another city that wasn't in Texas or Florida or where else they usually run, Chicago. I don't know. So yeah, as of now, it's Tony Storm. Yeah, exciting. But even if she did go there, like you said, on a cash grab deal, what are the matches we're looking for? What's the big money match? Britt
I guess her and
Baker,
Britt.
Saraya. I mean, who else she gonna fight? There's like 5 people she
Mel
can
just
fight.
wants to go there to face Britt Baker. It's
And what's gonna happen when they tell her she has to lose to her?
Well,
Yeah.
Jade. I guess Sasha and Jade would be the match.
Yeah, but that match would be terrible. But okay, it would be it would make sense from a
Sasha Banks would school Jade though.
I think that would be the point.
Yeah, my point is I'm not excited about the matchups. People are like, "Oh, you want to?" I'm like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I'm just not excited about these possible matchups. They're not like everyone they signed, like Paige, like, oh, her big return. She had her match, and now
Yeah.
she's just been backstage in interviews that were terrible. She's not been
Backstage
focused
segment
on.
between Britt Baker and
It's always Britt Baker because
Right.
she's the she's
Every
the
week.
golden child of AEW. I don't know, man. The division is a mess. No matter who they bring
It's
in,
been a mess.
it's been a
since
mess
the
since the very beginning. So I don't see it getting any better.
It
You
all
bring in
started
everybody.
with the Kylie Ray debauchery, and it's never recovered from there. They had her as the front and center female that they signed, and then she lost that match at Fight for the Fallen, and it was like, forget it. And then she got released, or she asked for her release. No one knows what happened there.
Yeah, that seems to be a pattern. And then they just didn't really have any ability to build division around. You're right. Rio was the first champion. They didn't really have like people to build division around. Britt was supposed to be this plucky baby face, but her character is I'm a dentist. Great. I mean, it's still that, but she just has an attitude on top of it.
No, I don't know. And she's out perusing with Christian.
Oh boy. Where's Adam at? How's he doing? We don't know. Your guess is
They're
good as
saying he
mine.
might not wrestle again.
Can you jeez.
damn.
All because he had to go there.
What injury was it?
All because he went there for the girl that cheated on him.
Oh jeez.
Because I'm sure he had a match and he got hurt and he continued wrestling because their doctors are love to clear people.
His last match, I think, was like the Owen Hart tournament.
right after.
Oh,
I
boy.
think, yeah. That's kind of sad.
Around there, because he was supposed to do whatever that crossover show, and then
Now
didn't
we're going to get a
happen.
million people telling us, no, it was
No, he was
Dynamite.
supposed to do the New Japan crossover
Yeah.
battle,
the
whatever.
Forbidden Door show, yeah.
Yeah, Forbidden Door. That sounds like worse than Banger Bros.
Oh, geez.
Well, because it wasn't even like a Tony Khan statement. He turned it into his thing, and now it's like that's all you hear. Like, enough. You can't really call it that when you have a working relationship with a company.
So speaking of AEW,
I don't know.
this show is going to be probably 20 minutes long. So we're almost at an hour. CM Punk made a couple social media posts, I believe on his Instagram story, how he was the top YouTube clip for AEW, the top merch seller. What else? What else, Frank? He listed a bunch of things there.
Oh yeah,
action figures, top. Like he's got 2 of the top action figures. Pro wrestling tees.
He was like up there, obviously. Yeah, interesting.
Now, for him to be doing that leads credence that he's going to return to AEW. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Charlie.
All
right. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, I'm hearing feedback on when I speak. Okay, that's better. I don't know. My opinion's changed on the guy over the last year. He could be the kindest man in the world, like Dak calls him, but he's a weird dude. It seems to always need to be about him. And I don't know. I would love to see him wrestle again, but just without all the drama he brings to the locker room.
So is he bringing the drama, or
it seems to follow him?
Or is it jealousy that follows him? That he can walk into a company for being gone for 7 years and being the guy instantaneously.
It could be a jealousy thing, but
think about who again. Think about the people that didn't like him. What were they? What did they do with the company? They started the company. Then they saw a guy go take the company to the highest of heights that they've never been to. And they go, instead of going, thank you, okay, they go, this guy's an asshole. How is that guy an asshole? He's putting more money in your pocket. He's getting more eyes on your product. But you're jealous because you weren't the guys that were capable of doing it. And that's the bottom line.
Because JML said so.
Yeah. I think we definitely got into that in depth months ago when you weren't here, Charlie.
I hate him now. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him wrestle again. But
yeah,
he
we knew this.
He could be a diva.
We knew this about him. It's not like it's unknown. It just became the fans. Well, no, it's because of Vince McMahon and Triple H.
Stone Cold was a diva.
But Stone Cold was a diva. You're absolutely right.
The Rock was a diva.
How was
when you get to the top, you gotta be.
You gotta be. You gotta control.
In his case,
Brock Lesnar's a diva.
You gotta be guarded.
Brock Lesnar.
Roman Reigns is a diva.
Roman Reigns.
Hulk Hogan is a diva. Ric Flair is a diva. Macho Man Randy Savage was a diva. Bret Hart was a diva. Bret Hart was a diva.
Maybe the biggest.
Shawn Michaels was a diva.
Well, yeah.
Shawn Michaels was a total diva.
The top guys, you have to have a diva mentality sometimes. Like, I mean, the great ones do.
That's fair.
Maybe that's the problem with Kenny and the Bucks, and
they don't know what it's
Cody
like.
Left.
Yeah,
Cody left. Cody had no interest of staying.
Yeah.
Why? Because he knew that those guys were not going to let him be the guy there. That's why. even though he was the only one capable of being the guy out of the four of them.
Yeah.
They wanted Hangman to be the guy. And
Right,
we've seen
don't
Hangman
worry.
try to be the guy. He's not the guy. Frank.
Yeah, I mean, we talked in depth about this back when this all went down several times. I know we discussed what would happen if he left, a possible WWE return, but as we said at the time, there's too much money left on the table here for them not to work something out. You could, you could make a lot of money, theoretically at least, in a Punk Kenny feud, Punk versus the Bucks, whatever.
How does FTR tie into this?
That's a big question because as far as we know, their contract is up in a couple of months, right? So that could be contingent on a possible re-signing there.
Now,
they seem to be his allies for sure.
Yeah.
Now the Dax podcast, which
Dax.
just launched like a couple weeks ago. He went out of his way to say glowing things about Punk and how he was perceived in the locker room. And I think for someone talking that openly, I think it leads credence that there's a possibility of them, Punk and FTR, wanting to work together, whether it is in AEW or the other company. Obviously, it'd be easier for them to work in AEW because of Punk's contract. So what do we think? In 3 months from now, where are we going to be at with FTR and Punk?
I think if Punk stays, FTR stays.
Yeah, at least for another year or so, whenever the time being. I still think FTR will take off one day. They will make one more run in the other company, regardless of who buys it. Especially if Hunter's in charge. Let me say. But yeah, I can see this more so than ever. I think this is very likely to happen. We're going to see a Punk return within the next couple months. I don't know when exactly his injuries is healed and all that, but maybe by, say, the May pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, where he won the title last year, I can see him showing up. I don't know what the story will be, exactly how they'll book it, who's going to be, the heel here, who's the face, but yeah, I mean, it makes too much sense. And he's not going to let him out of his contract. He's not going to let him go somewhere else. So, either he's not going to pay him either to sit home forever. So, hopefully it's just funny though, like you said, you hear all these stories of how great he is in the locker room. That's all we heard in his entire run there, right? That's all I was hearing until after. But we got to remember who we're hearing it from. We're hearing it from.
It's called a smear campaign.
Smear campaign. We're hearing it from the side of the EVPs. We're hearing it from the side of Jericho, who obviously I don't think he's ever liked Punk, but
no.
Who again? I'll give Jericho credit. He always manages to find the hottest young star to hitch himself to every time with these few in AEW. But I mean, he had a heck of a year in ring. He's been at the top of his game, but still, I'm tired of the JS stuff. But yeah, I don't know, man. I guess we're all in agreement that he's probably going to be back within the next so many months. So that would be extremely likely. Be extremely like AEW. It'd be extremely likely that they would FTR would stay if he's going to be there.
Yeah,
they haven't hit 1 million viewers in like 3 months, 4 months.
But the demos, brother.
All right,
the cable landscape is different now.
We're around 760 subscribers, which is awesome. When we get to 1,000, see this jacket that I'm wearing? I have a brand new one, size XL, 1,000 sub giveaway. It's not an inexpensive jacket. So make sure you're subbed, make sure you like, make sure you comment. Stay tuned. Tell your friends. The quicker we get to 1,000, the quicker the jacket can get given away. So.
Yeah, and if we get even higher, we'll have some. Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe we'll have some merch of our own. I don't know. We could have Well, Charlie looks like a bobblehead right now. We can have a Charlie bobblehead.
Charlie doing his D'Lo Brown impression.
So,
Um,
a little string you pull or press a button. He says his catchphrase. I don't know.
yeah.
Why not, man? Why not?
But
thanks for the support, guys.
yeah, thanks for the support.
Thank you.
Good night. Good luck. See you when we see you. Hopefully next week. Bye-bye. Take care.